everybody, welcome back to Musings by Nikki. This is Nikki and I'm here today with a craft along. I'm making book covers, and this is for Artzology. This is my October design team project. October, did I just say October? August. This is my August design team project. So if you remember last time for my July project, I was here using these seed packets, all these seed packets here, to make some taggities, and now I am making the covers for those books. So I kind of wanted to do the same thing that I did to make those taggities. So these are, this is just a collage of all different seed packets to make this super bright, happy, cheerful flower seed garden-y type of thing. Book cover. So I'm gonna make another one. You wanna craft along with me? Okay, let's do it. So it's a semi-flexible, and I think I've only ever done this once before. But I'm using a cereal box. I've seen lots of other people do it. So, this is chocolate checks. Yum! If you haven't had chocolate checks, you should. That other one was Special K. This one's chocolate checks. So, I just cut it down. It really, I mean, it makes sense, right? The spine of the book, like where the cereal box was. It makes sense, it's pre-folded, so then you just cut the other sides down. And I'm going to cover it with this paper. Now you won't really see the paper at all, but it adds I think just another layer of, this is quite flimsy, so this is a little bit thicker here now because of, I put a layer of this, and I think that just helps reinforce this and gives it something to grab to. And then by the time that you put the Mod Podge and put all the seed envelopes on here, and then put liner papers in, it makes it a lot more sturdy. So to cover it, I'm just going to use my Cosmic Shimmer acrylic glue, and I'm going to give it a good go around here. I'm not going to worry about getting it too, excuse me, of course I'm going to get the hiccups. Like I said, I'm not going to worry about getting it too terribly covered. Just want to give it some grab, because of course once I start Mod Podging, that'll soak through this thin little masking paper and give it extra grab and hold. This is just to get it on there right away. There we go. I just finished the signatures for one of these two books, and they are so bright and happy and cheerful. I can't wait to show them to you guys. It's kind of nice because I've been working on, autumn is like my absolute favorite time of the year, hands down, just not even a contest with any other season, autumn. So, and because, ooh, I'm smacking my camera and everything, I'm going to give this a really good press down. Ooh. So I've been working on autumn digis, because, you know, if we're going to sell or give autumn books, then we need to start crafting them usually in August. Well, if you want to start crafting in August, then us digital designers have to start digitally designing them all the way in like the end of July, right? So, but that is okay, because I love, love, love all things fall. So maybe that's why I said October at the beginning of this video. So, I mean, clearly you can still see glue marks, you can still see this stuff through it. I'm just I'm gonna miter the corners here. So it's been a minute since, that's a little long, I'm going to cut that down. It's been a minute since I was here. In between my last my last video and this one, I woke up one morning with a horrifically painful shoulder. And from everything that I've heard from friends who have had different shoulder injuries and stuff, as soon as I started trying to move it around, I was like, I bet this is a rotator cuff thing. Because like I couldn't lift my hand up more than 90 degrees parallel, like, you know, sideways. I'm just going to glue these down and push the flaps in. Again, I'm not trying to be terribly accurate. I do want a nice corner edge though here. Corner edge. I want a nice edge. So I want to make sure that that's folded up nice, because that, you know, I don't want, I want chunky bulk or anything there. That's all. So my shoulder had been kind of bothering me, but it hadn't been anything this horrific. And then I woke up this last Saturday morning, and was like, oh my goodness, I cannot lift my arm. I can't move it. It hurts so bad. And my husband was like, well, you should probably go to the doctor. And of course it's a Saturday, so there's no like calling my doctor and saying, hey, can I come in really quick? So urgent care. But luckily we have an orthopedic urgent care here near us. So I went there. I took Lizzie, my 15-year-old, with, because I had errands to run afterwards. Well, we had to go to Hobby Lobby. Had to go to Hobby Lobby. You know, and she loves Hobby Lobby as much as I do. So I thought, okay, we'll just go. They're probably going to be like, you know, you're in your 40s and you just hurt your shoulder. You're fine. Quit your whining. But they didn't. They said I had really bad swelling, like a massive tendonitis kind of in my entire rotator cuff complex. And you know, how does that happen? Repetitive use, too much crafting, I don't know. I do not subscribe to any of those things. I do not believe there is a such thing as too much crafting. But, you know, there is a such thing as like too much pushing an awl through, too thick of signatures, whatever. Designing, like mousing, I think that could be part of it too. But, so all that to say, I had to, okay, that's glued on. There we go. They said, he's like, okay, yeah, they took some imaging and stuff and then said, I'm gonna give you a shot of cortisone. Now, all I've ever heard about cortisone is how, like, the injections hurt. So I am not usually a wussy about injections, shots, anything like that, but I was getting kind of wussy. But then I was like, okay, my daughter's here, I can't be too big a wussy. Because, you know, I can't. This is freezer paper that I have down underneath. See how it's shiny? So this is freezer paper because the Mod Podge won't like stick down too hard to this. It gives me a second to release. And now I have this whole pile of all of these seed envelopes. And with the first one, I started trying to lay them out, and then I was like, this is silly. Why am I trying to lay them out? I just need to start gluing them down. What I do want to do though is, like for this one, I picked this as kind of my big image that I wanted on the front of the book. So I want to pick, like, and I just want to look for one that, you know, catches my fancy. I like that one. Oh, I want one that says like seeds though or something. Ooh, that one's pretty. We can put that one as like the front image. Yeah. Okay, so now the rest of these I'm just going to set over here. I've got my little Mod Podge. This is my matte Mod Podge. This is where you're about to get dirty. You know, messy crafting is the best crafting. I've got my one center image that I kind of want to make in the center over here. Now, a couple things before we start doing this. I printed these on my color inkjet. It is ink. They are very dry. However, the minute you start putting a wet medium over the top, if you overwork like this, if you brush over it too much, you will start lifting some of that ink, and you'll notice that it's getting pink or, you know, whatever color, green, in your Mod Podge as you start spreading it around. So you could mess up your image if you overwork the Mod Podge. So you want to make sure that you put enough on your brush that you just give a simple coat. Otherwise, you're going to really, you know, mush this image up. And here's literally, this is not rocket science. I put some on the back. It's going to curl up. It's going to be a mess. Your fingers are going to be full of glue, unless you're a super careful crafter, but that I am not. And then I just start laying them out, and I put just enough on the edge so that I can fold it over, because, you know, my end papers only come up so far. Like so. I'm just going to give the corner a little extra here, and we can glue that back down more too later. But so there's the first one, and then I'm just literally going to keep on going like that. I think making sure that you get the edges, see there it goes curling up, making sure that you get the edges down as best you can is the most important thing. So I'm going to go over this corner too right away. Oops. And then I'm gonna, once I get a couple of them laid down, is when I'll start putting some Mod Podge over the top of everything. But that's what I did with the last one. I would get a few laid down, and then I'd start putting some Mod Podge over, but then it gets hard to flip it over like this and make sure the insides are stuck down. So I think this time I'm gonna put all of them on. We'll see how that goes. Let's see, something a little darker right there. So anyway, guys, the doctor came in with the cortisone shot, and I looked at it, and have you guys had cortisone? Tell me in the comment section if you've had cortisone, if you were not as big a baby about it. I wasn't a big baby. I looked at the shot and I was like, holy cow. It reminded me, you know, I'm used to like little syringes, like the little ones that they come with for your flu shot. That's like this teeny skinny needle. But no, this guy came in with like, he wasn't messing around. He had a big old, it looked like when you used to put, you know, when you had the little syringe thing to put cough medicine for your babies, and you'd put them in that big like suck it up syringe thing to injector it into their mouth. That's what this thing looked like. It was that thick. It was a big old syringe full of all kind of lot of stuff. It was not what I was expecting. And I thought, you're gonna shoot all that into my shoulder? And then he proceeded to shoot all of that into my shoulder. It was not as bad as I thought, but because they put a bunch of like that spray freeze, like biofreeze stuff on my skin first, so I didn't feel it going in or anything. But man, the next day, I tell you what. Now I've also heard wonders of how cortisone is super helpful, and it makes people feel good, and it really, you know, stops your injury from hurting right away, or not right away, but that it really works really well. And so I was like, okay, well, anything to make my shoulder feel better and get me back to crafting. Yeah. So about that, the next day I did not feel so good. It hurt probably worse than it did the day I went in, because now there was all this cortisone junk like in my shoulder, and the shot, I don't know, man. You guys, I'm not usually a wuss. Like I deal with pain on a regular basis, so it usually isn't, I'm not such a wuss about it, but that cortisone shot did not feel good. Not right away, but the next day it did not feel good. However, now it's Tuesday, so that was Saturday. Sunday was not so good. But now it's Tuesday, and yesterday I had my first physical therapy, and I was really worried about how that was going to go, but that actually went really well, because it was already starting to not hurt. It was a little bit stiff and sore, but now today when I woke up, guys, this cortisone stuff is the bomb. Today when I woke up, I was like, my arm just feels a little bit sore, but nothing like it did before. It feels a lot better. So I want to put that one there. So I don't know. You guys let me know. Now, my mom, hi Mom if you're watching, my mom had to have cortisone put in her hip. Now that's probably where I got this idea that having cortisone is not so great, because that's a major joint, and apparently that one was not so fun. I believe that. Okay. So you guys, you see I'm just like going sideways, going every which way. I'm not even trying to be super careful, right? Because I kind of know that if I didn't just keep going on this, I would overthink how I'm going to lay them out and stuff. And if I tried laying them out ahead of time, I would really overthink how I'm doing it. So I'm just going for it. Trying to make them, like these center ones here, trying to make them as flat as possible. But isn't that cute already? And then here's the other thing too with this, and I don't know if it'll pick it up on camera as much as it does in real human life, but the Mod Podge really brings out the color. So once I start putting the Mod Podge over the images to seal them in, it really brings out the colors in the images really pretty. Makes them nice and bright. Okay, let's go. I like these. I like these roses. Rose of many colors, it says. Very pretty. If I were a gardener, I would grow some, because I would love to have them on my table. However, a gardener I am not. I watch, you know, Miss Cogs, of course, Miss Cogs, Mrs. Cog, and she's got this gorgeous vegetable and flower gardens and stuff. So she'll show these little snippets of her going up to her garden to, you know, show us what she's growing or whatever. And I love it. I love the idea of a garden. I love the idea of having all of that and being able to walk up to the garden and pick some cucumbers and tomatoes, but I'm allergic to like everything, dude. Okay. This is a corner we're gonna have to kind of fold. There we go. Pretty, pretty. So once this is done, literally all I do is put Mod Podge over the top and let it dry. For the other one, I put the liner in, the paper liner, but I think I want to put just one more coat of Mod Podge on the outside to make sure that it's good and protected. So I'll probably work on that after I'm done here. Go. Oops, I want to snip that. Snip that. And give it a little extra glue there. Oh, let's see, that one's pretty. So isn't this fun, you guys? It's so bright and cheerful. Like this is one of those books where if you opened it up in the middle of one of our awful winters here in Minnesota, it would just be like a little cheerful ray of sunshine. Oh, let's see, I want to go over a little more. Like there. Remind you about how there is summer at some point. It does come back around. Although I'm ready for autumn. I am ready. Bring on the fall. Okay, and there's my main image that I wanted to put in the middle. So let's lay this guy down. My fingers don't feel nearly as Mod Podgy as they did last time because I was putting Mod Podge over the top of everything as I went. And that's what made my fingers get super goopy. Not so bad this time. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is just put a coat over the top of this whole thing. Now this is where you want to make sure that you're not overworking the images. So, you know, give it a good coat, but don't, you know, don't go whoosh, 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 back and forth over the same images a lot. Remember that if you feel like you didn't get some of the spots really well the first time, you can always go back and put a second coat. And when you put the second coat, it won't matter so much because the first coat will already be protected. So then you don't have to worry about overworking the images. So just, you know, use your discretion. You will see, I'm giving this as a really good healthy coat. You will see if you do brush over one image too much that you start to pull up some of the ink, and you'll notice that where you're brushing all of a sudden starts to pull up. In this case it's like pink because of course there's so much pink or red on these images. But this is what just really brings it to life. And make sure I'm hitting the edges too. These seed packet envelopes are such a great kit, you guys. They're so versatile and they're so bright and happy and cheerful that you kind of just can't help but want to play with them and come up with ways to use them because they're so happy. So I'll have them linked below. Hi Deb from Artzology, if you're watching. I'm sure you will watch this at some point. So hello. Thank you for these beautiful images. They are so awesome. This is a great kit and they go really well with another one of our kits that I will show you when this book is done. It's the pages that I've used, one of her garden kits. Let's see, I missed a little spot there. Okay, so It's still streaky and glossy over here, but look at how it's just getting so bright and picking up the brightness of this, the colors of this thing. It's just so pretty. So that's where it's gonna be at. So it's already starting to dry up here. I have my heat gun out. Now, if you do your heat gun on Mod Podge, if you haven't done it before, just another tip, you have to hold it way far back because you will bubble up the glue on this. You'll make everything bubble and wrinkle, and then you'll be so sad that you worked this hard to get this beautifulness done, and then you made it all bubble. So if you do use your heat gun because you're impatient, you got to hold it back quite a ways. So I mean, it's hard to tell, but this is, you know, about a foot off of the paper, and then keep it constantly moving, right? So don't linger in any one spot, just keep it moving. Otherwise, I do have a little desk fan that I'll put up here, and I'll just let it blow on here for a little while I go make dinner or something, and that helps it dry off quicker as well. And then once it's done, you can see on the inside here, there's just barely, I cut my end papers really to the edge. So I glued them in, and because I'm going to sew through the spine of these. But yeah, look at, these are a lot stiffer now. The paper is a lot stiffer. They're still flexible. It's not as thick as like cardstock or anything, but I would imagine that once I put another layer of Mod Podge on this one, it'll make it even thicker still. It still is a little bit tacky, so it needs to dry and cure all the way as well. But it's pretty. Look at the pretty colors that it picks up. And it just gives it that little bit of protection and sheen. This is matte, so even matte Mod Podge has shine to it. It's not as glossy, but you can see it's kind of a matte shine, but it still is a shine. But yeah, so there you go, guys. Thought you'd just enjoy coming along with me as and look at it, just picks right up off the freezer paper too. That's a good tip. So I thought I would take you along as I Mod Podge a cover. I will see you guys again very soon. Hopefully in the next few days I'll have these books done and I'll come for a flip through, and then we are going to start, I think we're going to start into the Storybook Woods kit. Woo! I'm so excited. I got it printed out over there and I am so excited. So thanks for hanging out with me, guys. It's good to see you. Thanks for being patient while I, get better from my dumb rotator cuff thing. Let me know if you have any good information about cortisone shots, rotator cuff injuries, how to overdo it too quickly so I don't do that. Or if you have good tips. I mean, so far ice and ibuprofen seem to be good, so if that's your tips, then hey, I'm already doing it. Sweet. Anyway, thanks guys. I will see you again very soon. Have a good morning, afternoon, evening, middle of the night, wherever it is on this beautiful planet that you live, and I will see you guys again very, very soon. Bye-bye. God bless.